Good evening, everyone. The time is now 7:01. We are going to call to order the Narragansett Town Council meeting. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I would like to call for a moment of silence for Hamazoe Robinson. She was a resident of Narragansett whose life was cut short by a senseless act of violence. Thank you. Moving on to approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 16th, 2024 work session? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 4-0. Next up is a motion to approve the minutes from the September 16th, 2024 regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next, I have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 26th, 2024 special meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 3 with 1 abstention. Next, a motion to approve the minutes for the September 26th, 2024 executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 3 with 1 abstention. Next, moving on to announcements, presentations. A little bird told me that today is our town manager's birthday. So this time I'd like to wish him a very happy birthday on behalf of the council and behalf of the town. And thanks for doing all you do.
Thank you very much.
All right, next we will have the town manager's updates.
Good evening, members of the council, folks here this evening and those watching from home. As you know, there's been some attention with the new Boone Street Market, and I said that I would keep the council updated, which I do weekly. The police chief prepares a Monday morning report for me with any events or any activity that's taken place connected to the establishment. In the last week, the department did 15 bar checks there, proactive checking ahead of time without a call. They took 3 or 4 readings for the sound meter on Thursday night and additional ones on Friday. With the exception of 1 reading, all were under the 55 residential limit. There was 1 parking complaint, and that was it, but there were no reported noise complaints. But we have had some neighbors that tell us they don't want to call every time there's noise because they know that the offices are busy on the Thursday and Friday evenings. But we continue to meet with some of the neighbors. Two of the residents in the area are being almost like the representatives of everyone else. I'm meeting with them and sending them some emails on different items as they surface. And I did forward to the council some of the recommendations they had regarding the establishment going forward when the liquor licenses are up for renewal. The Narragansett Police Department. Our police department successfully completed the police accreditation process and is certified as an accredited police agency for another 3 years. That's a great accolade for any agency. It's the earmark of a professional agency that's up to all the standards for modern law enforcement and integrity of their staff and their processes. And I think it's a great accomplishment. I'm glad that the chief and the officers who are assigned to that program continue to keep it up to date. Thank you, Chief. The Narragansett Fire Department. The residents and visitors to Narragansett are blessed to have such a great fire department serving our community. I'm a retired police officer, former volunteer firefighter, and EMT. My brother was a career Providence firefighter who worked 75% of his career on the rescue, notably the toughest job in emergency services in the city. I appreciate the men and women of the Narragansett Fire Department, and I have friends among them, less as I and they age. But with that said, the negotiations between the town and the union have to play out. There is a process for this. The IAF local and the town signed an agreement that the negotiations would not be open to the public or media. I will honor the spirit of that agreement by not discussing anything regarding negotiations in the public or with the media. Prepared a budget that I gave to the town council for the current fiscal year that expires on June 30th of 2025. That budget was approved by this council, 4 in support and 1 opposed. That budget included the 8 firefighters hired under the SAFER grant with a budgeted 3% salary increase through June 30th of 2025 for the entire department. Nothing has changed. Those are the facts. The IAF and the town are in the negotiations discussing the collective bargaining agreement. The local union opted to exercise their legal right for interest arbitration. This is where a third party hears the presentations of the town and the IAFF local and makes a ruling. Those are the facts. All of the Narragansett Fire Department staff continue to be employed and are protected by their collective bargaining agreement, even though it expired on June 30th of 2024. The staffing levels of the fire department have not been affected at all at this juncture as we continue our negotiations. I wanted to get this out there because I've been receiving phone calls and copies of posts on social media that I just figured, let's just get it out there and let people know exactly what's going on with it, and the process has to play out. The Rhode Island Public Works Association and the New England chapter of the Public Works Association participated in a conference out in Colorado, and 2 of our employees, Jason Teolis and David Gormley, ranked 18th in the entire country in a couple of the competitions, and that's a great accomplishment. And I'd like to thank Jason and David Gormley for what they did. The solicitor informed us, Mark Davis informed us last week, that the short-term rental temporary restraining order was granted, and what it means basically is until it's worked out, the decision means we cannot implement or enforce the new requirements until the case is tried and a decision is rendered. And that is just about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tierney. Next, we'll move to the open forum public comment portion of the meeting. Please note that the comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. Please note that the public comment will not be taken on matters involving open litigation. And the rules are there's a sign-in sheet in the back to speak. State your name and address when you come up to the podium. And please speak only on topics not on the meeting agenda. And there is a 3-minute time limit per speaker subject matter. And please be orderly and respectful. Mr. Tierney.
The first speaker is Chris D'Ambrosia.
Good evening. Chris D'Ambrosio, 28 Wildwood Road. I'm here to show my support for the Narragansett Fire Department and their personnel that were hired through a SAFER grant 3 years ago. The culmination of the 3 years is approaching, and I hope that there's a plan to retain the firefighters hired through this grant. The addition of the 8 firefighters that were hired has proved invaluable to the town by decreasing response time, and as a result, improving service to the town and saving lives. I've been a resident of Narragansett since 1989. My wife and her family have been residents for many generations. In my 25 years here in Narragansett, the town has grown immensely, as you all know. With the population growth, increase in renters, college students, and an aging community, staffing of the Narragansett Fire Department must increase to satisfy the needs of the town. Response time is the major factor here. It is so important to arrive at a scene quickly with the proper staffed response. It can be the difference between life and death. 7 years ago, I suffered a massive heart attack as I was working as an administrator in a high school in Cranston. My heart stopped. I was dead. If it wasn't for the quick response of the fully staffed Cranston Fire Department, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. You can cut corners on a lot of things in a town's budget. Public safety is not one of them. I ask you to please support the fire department and the citizens of Narragansett through the continued funding of the firefighters hired through the SAFER grant. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Dr. Al Alba.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island. Well, it's election time, and we all have to do some kind of reflection, determine if the people are happy with the way things have happened in this last 2 years, or is it time to get a change? Just want to share some reflection. In your term, you've denied our family's memorial. You could have easily had the memorial rock recognized. You questioned actually the Lugens family library and having that name changed. Thank God the Lugens were able to honor their loved one, Maury. You spent and wasted tens of thousands of dollars on mismanagement of rentals, both long-term and short-term, going 4 to 3. Now we have 5. You tried to micromanage, and the state has to put up, constantly fight you guys. It's wasting money, and it's just a shame. You spent $147,000 on a beach carrying capacity study. Yet then you try to continue to fight for time-restricted parking. I had to fight the town manager, the town president, our town council solicitor. It's a sad state of affairs. It pains me. You pain me fighting for the memorial, and then you pain me having to fight for what's right and eliminating signage along Narragansett Ave and Ocean Road. If something's not broken, let's not fix it. We haven't had a problem with long-term and short-term rentals. The reason why profits have gone up is because it's called economics. Look at any seaside community. A correlation does not mean causation. You failed to file litigation against RIDM after they egregiously failed in their fiduciary responsibilities. Now, unless the new town council fights, it'll cost us millions in lost revenue. In fact, Catherine Celeberto wrote, town must file a lawsuit against the state and PREX. And she got the numbers, she cranked them out, the millions which we're going to lose. Thank you, Catherine, for doing this. You created a finance committee where the president and others wanted to give tax breaks for year-round rentals. And then you wanted to increase the taxes on seasonal rentals. This is absurd. If you have a year-round rental, you get to write off those taxes. If we want to have more families in here, then why are we encouraging any kind of rentals, right? But it just doesn't make sense to give tax breaks to year-round rentals. Give it to the seasonal rentals. They're here for less than 6 months out of the year. Don't increase their taxes. Assessments. You did give preferential treatment to commercial rentals. Catherine Celeberto was right on that call as well. So I just don't understand why we just have all these faults in our town, one after another. And she called it right on that. And I got to give credit where credit is due. She went back and she reviewed. And now we have a town beach facility which we're going to allow to host a fundraiser for the incumbents. Is this valid? Is this fair? I'll let you decide. Thank you.
There are no other names on the list.
Does anyone else wish to speak who hasn't signed up? Ms. Celeberto.
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court. First, I've never advocated for a seasonal We are part-time residents and never advocated that our taxes should be reduced in any way. I just want to put that out there. I'm going to be crystal clear about that. I oppose giving annual rental owners a tax break. That's absurd. The other thing is, since Mr. Tierney brought it up, and I wasn't going to speak about this, I stand by any representation I've made on social media that the town is trying to negotiate away those 8 positions. It may be in the budget, but they're trying to negotiate away those positions. I stand by that representation. And the rest of it, I mean, I really don't want to get into it, but I think this is an abomination that they would even consider doing something like this. Manpower saves lives. That is a proven fact. Our fire department has not been increased in 30 years. Before we got that SAFER grant, the staffing had not gone up in 30 years. And you knew when you took that grant that this day would come and you would have to fund those positions. And it's one thing putting them in a budget, and it's quite another thing to go behind closed doors and try to negotiate them away. Thanks.
Eva, can I, one thing? Mr. Tierney, can I just confirm, as far as the rental of the North Beach Clubhouse, can you confirm that there was a rental fee paid by the 3 of us who are renting that property out for tomorrow?
We don't make exceptions, so I would say,
So the Parks Director is here. Can you please have her confirm that we did pay? It's not being given to us.
Michelle?
Thank you.
Okay, the Parks and Rec Director has confirmed the payment was made, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zamfrillo?
Hi, Paul Zonfrillo, 7 Windward Circle. So, Madam President, Madam Vice President Pro Tem, and Councilor Ferrandi, I want to thank you so very much for your service and for running again. You've been very respectful and kind to folks in the face of adversity, because change is difficult. Without exception, I've seen you be polite to the people that come up in fighting this really important battle for the town. And it's interesting because some people, like Mr. Alba, live in places where there are no rentals. They don't have the problems, they don't see the problems. And, you know, this is really a time for choosing in this election. There are council members going on Facebook saying it was a total waste of money for these lawsuits. You have 5 candidates that are being led by the largest landowner in Narragansett, who are sure, running as a team, and who are sure to overturn all that work. Really, what it's about is it's about the fight and who is going to fight for the residents. And the 3 of you have done so at great personal cost. I know that 2 of you have had tires slashed, you've received anonymous letters, and you have absolutely nothing to gain except for your desire and passion to change this town for the residents. So it is a pivotal time, and I completely disagree with Mr. Alba and those who are trying to gaslight us about the meanness of this council, trying to gaslight us that there's no problem. It really is a time for choosing. Do we want to go to the future? Do we want to fight? Or do we just want to knuckle under? So thank you to the 3 of you for leading the fight and staying in the fight. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Last call. Okay.
J. Ryan Navakowskis, 200 Old Mountain Trail, Richmond, Rhode Island. I'm the president of the Local 1589 Narragansett Firefighters. I just wanted to be on record to say the point that we filed for arbitration in the last 4 contract cycles. We've done it many times. It preserves our rights for our members and the towns, and we are committed to agreeing on a fair agreement for both our members and the town. We just have to keep communication open.
Thank you. So moving on to,
Eva, can I just
Oh,
have some,
sure.
I just have some informational content on one of the committees that I'm on, the Senior Advisory Committee.
Okay,
And
sure,
I-
yeah.
We only meet 4 times a year, and I know a lot of people, it doesn't get a lot of play, but it's the North Narragansett South Kingston Regional Senior Advisory Council. And it consists of Michelle, our Recreation Department, and the Recreation Department of South Kingston. And, we have several seniors, and it's made up of a lot of board. So what we've been working on for about the last year is a senior survey, and we finally have it out, and I believe our Recreation Department, Michelle, Director, I believe it'll be on the website at some point, according to our last meeting. So we're hoping this kind of looks at a little different angle and puts a little more emphasis on our seniors, which we have a lot here. And there's quite a few questions that'll give some good details of how we can, better serve them, and how they can better serve us, and how we can enhance what they have in our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next on to new business. I'm going to be pulling item K3. Okay, so for the police department, we have a motion to approve the police department's request to hire 4 probationary patrol officers.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Public Works Department, we have a motion to award a 2-year bid for road striping services to K5 Corporation at their quoted unit prices for the fiscal years 2024, 25, and 2025, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Community Development Department, we have a motion to read, pass, and adopt as a second reading an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 66 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett entitled Street, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, specifically Article 2, entitled Streets, by adding a Division 5 entitled Abandonment of Street and Roadway Rights of Way.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Engineering Department, we have a motion to approve the recommendations of the Sewer Policy Committee and deny a waiver relative to Sewer Policy Sections 2D, 7A, 7F, and 7H to Plat Q, Lot 101, vacant parcel South Pier Road for the proposed subdivision.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the applicant has asked us, was unavailable today, so has asked us to continue this to the 10/21 meeting. So do I have a motion to continue this to the 10/21 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. And then we'll go back to the main motion as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next up, we have a motion to approve the recommendations of the Sewer Policy Committee and deny a waiver relative to Sewer Policy Sections 2D, 7A, and 7F to Plat H, Lot 12, 244 Kingstown Road, proposed subdivision, and also deny a waiver relative to Sewer Policy Section 7H for the proposed subdivision.
So moved.
Second.
And this was a 2-0 denial by the Sewer Policy Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Information Technology Department, we have a motion to approve the renewal of dark trace system from SHI International Corp. in the amount of $29,964.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor? Oh,
One.
Ms. Ciliberto.
Catherine Celebrero, 48 Oaks Court. I'm not opposed to this. I'm just wondering, does it also cover like the police and fire department, or is it just town departments? I mean, is this system on everything, all the websites, so that all the websites are monitored for suspicious activity, specifically police and fire, because this is kind of like just mentioned the town website. Thanks.
Thanks. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Finance Department, we have a motion to approve the one-year contract extension for general plumbing services with Atlantic Control Systems Incorporated at their quoted rates and markup for parts, materials, and equipment under the same terms and conditions as the original contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next up from the town clerk, we have a motion to read, pass, and adopt as a second reading an ordinance, an amendment to Chapter 14, Article 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Rooming Houses or Boarding Houses.
So moved.
Second.
Any all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. At this time, we'll just, actually, it's 7:30. We're going to go back to the public hearing portion of the meeting, public hearing decision. So we have a motion to schedule a public hearing on November 18th, 2024, on an ordinance and amendment of Appendix A of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Zoning to Allow Mixed Uses in BB General Business Zones.
So moved.
Second.
Just a question for the council. This November 18th will be the first meeting that the new council will be meeting. It's kind of a very hectic meeting, so would anybody be open to potentially changing this to the first meeting in December 12/2?
That sounds good.
Make a motion for that.
Okay, so so we'll change the date. Sorry about that. We'll change the date to 12/2. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. And now we'll go back to the main motion as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Going back to town clerk, agenda items. We have a motion to reappoint 4 individuals to the Library Board of Trustees for terms expiring on October 1st, 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So I'll take nominations first. I would like to make the motion to reappoint Terry Stafford, who's finished her first term. So then we'll just take other nominations. So I'll go to Councilor Cicilline Bonanno.
No, I just wanted to say that the chair of the library board's out of town. There were a couple of emails that we got. This isn't critical that we do these all tonight, so I would ask the council, there's one more meeting and there's going to be a new council, these appointments, this one on the library, there's 4 appointments, but on the tax assessor and the zoning alternate, I think that we should wait for these appointments. Just a matter of business that it just seems like it's kind of rushed. So I would say we should just hold off on all the appointments and let the new sitting council make the decisions.
So this council makes this decision, not the board. So going back to, I did pull the tax assessment board of review, but again, the chair of the library board did reach out and did suggest an appointment, which I believe she sent it to the whole council. These are not appointments by the library board of trustees; they're appointments made by the town council, and these appointments fall for this council. And I don't think there's an issue with moving forward with appointments to these boards. So at this point, I'll take any nominations. Councilor Sicilian Bonanno, would you like to nominate anyone?
No, you had your nominations. You started it, right?
I'm doing one. Everyone does one.
So who did you say?
I'm reappointment. We have one reappointment. So we have Terry Stafford. Finished her first term. She's eligible for a second term. She expressed interest in continuing. So I will go to you for any council, any potential candidates that you would like to
So for the
appoint.
new position, obviously.
There's 3.
Yeah.
So we'll go.
So you're doing Terry as a reappointment.
And then
you're
now
doing
there's 3. So
So are we not going to finish Terry's or? would you-
no, we're going to do it all together.
So I would ask that Deb Kopeck applied for the board, and I'd like to see her be placed on that board. I think she would be an asset.
Okay.
Sure.
Councilor Lawler?
I would like to appoint Doug McLaughlin. A little bit about Doug. When he was 8 years old, it was the first time he volunteered at a library, and he volunteered at that library throughout his school years when he was a young man. And then when he was on the police force, he ended up meeting I believe he told me, a missionary who was involved with a small library in one of the poorest communities in South America. And ever since, he's been a beneficiary of that community library. Doug is vitally vested in libraries and would like to serve.
Is he on another board?
He is.
Thank you.
Councilor Ferrandi?
Thank you, Councilor Dzwinski. I'd like to nominate Lori Sutherland. Looking at her resume, I think she brings a unique perspective a little bit. She owns a bookstore for the last 3 or 4 years. And before that, she was in IT. And I know a lot of the library is getting automated and that kind of thing. So I think those 2 experiences are good, and it might give a little different perspective on what people are reading out there and look at it a little differently. So that's my nomination, Lori Sutherland.
Thank you. Any other nominations, or is everyone happy with those?
So I'm confused, because are we going to vote on
Yeah,
one
so
at a time?
no, we can combine. If everyone is fine with these appointments. So we have Terry Stafford as a reappointment, Deb Kopeck as a new appointment, Doug McLaughlin as a new appointment, and Lori Sutherland as a new appointment.
All right, because I had Barbara Bush, Marian Kachenko, and Maureen Dodge on my list as well.
Okay, so
Those are the 4 that I had. Deb Kopeck, Barbara Bush, Marian Kachenko, and Maureen Dodge.
okay, so we can just, we'll go by, would you like to discuss why you're nominating each of those? Have you spoken to them?
I didn't know we were going to get this far. Marian has been involved with the Friends of the Friends of the Library. Barbara Bush has been involved in the library. Deb Kopeck's on the council. And Maureen Dodge is a retired teacher. They all have substantial backgrounds that would be wonderful to work on the board at the library.
Okay. All right, so we'll go to Council Lawler,
I'm happy with the 4 names that were put forward.
Council Ferrandi,
I'm happy with the 4 names also.
and I am as well. So does somebody want to make the motion?
Make a motion to reappoint Do I have to list each one of them? Okay, so reappoint Terry Safford, appoint Doug McLaughlin, appoint Lori Sutherford, and appoint Deb Kopek. And a quick question to Sarah. With Deb Kopek, do we need to make that appointment effective the day after the election, or can we just do it as is?
It would be after the election.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have a motion to appoint one individual to the alternate 2-member seat of the Zoning Board for a term expiring on July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any nominations?
Is it just Deb Casey?
I'd
No.
like to
there's
make a
several.
motion to appoint John Ball.
I don't think you were there for that interview. Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay, because I wasn't,
Okay.
I
You want
wasn't
to?
there.
Okay. Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 3, 1 nay. Do you want to abstain, or were you abstaining, or I'm sorry, I just want to
I
clarify.
just said no
Okay,
because
no,
I
okay, no problem.
wasn't there.
Okay. Next, we have a motion to reappoint 2 individuals to the Galilee Advisory Committee for 3-year terms expiring on October 1st, 2027. And there are several openings on this committee. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
Any nominations?
So Doug McLaughlin is asking for a renomination, and I spoke with our town clerk today and asked, should the occasion of the council please to appoint Mr. McLaughlin to the library board, could he then be on this committee again, since there are limited applications? And the answer was yes, per our law. So I nominate Doug.
Any other nominations?
There is one more person, Evan, I don't have that name in front of me. Oh, Melissa Colatides.
Okay, yep. All right, so that was the only other applicant we had. So would somebody like to make the motion for reappointment and appointment?
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Doug McLaughlin and to appoint Melissa Colatides.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Are
Aye.
you saying?
I'm saying nay.
Okay. Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 3 with one nay. Next, from the town solicitor, we have a motion to read, pass, and adopt as a second reading an ordinance and amendment of Appendix A of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Zoning, specifically text revisions of Section 2.2, definitions, amending the definition of bed and breakfast, guest house, and Section 6.1, use regulations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next up from the Town Council, we have a motion to schedule a work session on October 21st, 2024 at 6 p.m. to discuss the Narragansett Town beach operations.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion of this?
Pretty
Yeah.
standard motion. It works well for the director. It's before the last meeting of this council at 6 o'clock. And we've been doing it for years, so.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to approve dredge alternative 4 for the Narrow River dredging project, land-based mechanical dredging with dredged material to be placed at location in proximity to the dredge site that is acceptable to regulatory agencies as determined during the permitting process as the selected short-term alternate, being fully contingent on the availability of funding. Estimated construction cost range $771,040. to $1,252,940, and direct the town manager to seek financing options for the project. Continue to coordinate with both engineering on the next steps for obtaining licensing permits and engage with key stakeholders to move forward with the project.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, this is coming from me and Councilor Lawler. Again, I believe the council is in support of this based on all the conversations and work sessions that we've had. So just for the suggested action, I'll just read this to you so it's clear. So a work session was held on October 5th, 2024, with the town council and Foth Engineering. The report and recommendations for the dredging of Narrow River were reviewed with 3 options provided by Foth. The cost estimates for the 3 options were substantial. It was evident that there is significant community interest on this topic, and this initial work session provided an opportunity to continue discussions. The second work session was held on September 16th, 2024, wherein Foth provided 2 additional options to be discussed following the August 5th, 2024 work session. Both work sessions explored ideas, alternatives, and financing options for the dredging of Narrow River. There are multiple stakeholders involved in this project that include, but not limited to, the state of Rhode Island, the town of Narragansett, DEM, CRMC, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Dunes Club, Narrow River Preservation Association, the town of South Kingstown, and taxpayers. Some key stakeholders were present and spoke at the second work session. On September 27, 2024, the town participated in a meeting conducted by representatives of Fish and Wildlife Service to review the project and discuss the alternatives presented at the second work session. Fish and Wildlife Services identified conditions that would bear upon the permitting process as conducted through the Army Corps of Engineers. Dredge Alternative 4, with dredge material placement to be determined subject to regulatory agency approval during the permitting process, is proposed as the selected short-term alternative based on discussions with FFWS, Fish and Wildlife Service. Approval will allow this portion of the project to advance to the permitting phase now so that construction could proceed in a timely manner pending available financing. So again, I think everybody's been following this very closely. We did take a nuanced approach to make sure we had all the information we needed, to make sure we had all the stakeholders weighing in on this. And I did think that originally that alternative 5 with the dunes would have been greater option. And I believe when I spoke with Councilor Kopech, who's unable to be here this evening, also agreed. However, when we had that discussion with Fish and Wildlife Service, they discussed that how the dunes would be an issue because there is a piping plover habitat. So just for compromise and just understanding that point of it, which I was not aware of prior to the discussion with Fish and Wildlife Service. The option is 4. And those were the 2 options that were presented after the first presentation by Foth Engineering. So those were the ones that just were the less costly ones and just a start to the project. I'm going to let our town manager speak if he has any comments, or if I've covered it all, let me know.
I think that pretty much says all of it. I mean, that meeting was lengthy and was very informative with Fish and Wildlife, and as we discussed with CRMC, this would be a phased approach, and this would be the most economical and most likely the best option for us at this juncture. And again, it could be a phased approach, and during the permitting process, some things always change during the permitting process once it's submitted, so it may be modified somewhat, but this was an option that was favored more so by Fish and Wildlife after we spoke with them. And the community obviously has a significant interest in this based on the phone calls and just bump-ins and emails and that type of thing. But that's about it.
Thank you. Councilor Lawler.
I don't think there's much more to say than what you and Jim said, and I'm pleased that we're going to be going ahead with this.
Councilor Ferranti.
I feel the same way. This at least gets things moving. We have a plan now. We can go out to bid and, keep working with the stakeholders, North Kingston, South Kingston, Narragansett, and the rest that's been said, and kind of get things moving with this. So I'm happy with it.
Councilor Siciliano-Bonanno.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, so thank you. Anyone from the public wishing to comment? Mr. Colombo?
Thank you. First off, I'd like to say, great job. Been over 25 years since we've been playing with this option. It's finally coming through fruition. Again, thank you. It's a lot of hard work. With the town manager, put together a great team. Carol McAtee is here to speak on it. Members of the river are here. This is no one person's job. It was a joint effort all the way around. A lot of years went into this work, and now it's finally coming to be. And whatever happens with the councils, it's not political. This is for the betterment of the town. We need to do this, and it needs to happen ASAP. And once again, I'd like to thank you all, town manager especially, Carol McAtee, who's here, but if we don't have the cooperation, we'll never get it done. So thank you again.
Representative Carol Hagan McEntee.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, members of the council. This has been a long time coming, as we all know. I think the first day I entered the State House, this was on my plate. What do we do about Narrow River? How do we get the sand back on the beach and getting the flow back into the river? So I'm obviously urging you all to vote yes, and I certainly see the looks on your face, so I would imagine that could be where we're going. But this is the initial dredge, and I understand that. This is a way to get the project moving. Obviously, in the end, I'd like to see the much larger dredge that we had the presentation on a few months ago, which was, really opening up that mouth and moving the sand down the beach and replenishing the entire beach. Because we all know Narragansett's beach is one of its crown jewels in this town. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. And we need to replenish the beach, and we need to also be concerned about the health and well-being of the river. And with all that sand clogged at the mouth, this is the first step. Moving some of that sand to, my understanding is number 4, closes off that dead end that is now in the river where there's concern about bacteria growing and stagnant water. So I think that is a good first step, and then move the sand over. So hopefully we'll get a little more flush from that. But in the end, we really have a much bigger project on our plate here. And when my dealings with CRMC with all of these permits has always been start out with whatever you can get initially, and you can always expand on those permits. You can go in deeper, get more sand, but obviously you have to have all the studies to back it up. But I commend the council for bringing this to the table tonight and getting this started, because we also know the dredge window, I believe, is it October to January? So is it January? He's saying March. Is it March? I'm not sure. I thought it was January. But whatever it is, we know it's a small window and we have to act when we can. So thank you very much. And as we all know, the dramatic change in the beach and the mouth of the river is profound and needs to be addressed. And I think that's what you're doing tonight. So let's hope this all goes smoothly and we get on to the next project, with the river, because it really does need it, as we all know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Ms. Celeberto?
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. I sent you an email. We lived across the street from Wiggins Pass in Naples. Every 4 years, you're on the beach, and they're dredging the pass. They initially dug it all out, and every 4 years, they have to dredge it again to maintain it. And if you saw the picture I sent you, it's clear. It's clear. The pass is clear. We have a big project down here on our hands, and you're putting a Band-Aid on it. It's an open wound, and you're putting a Band-Aid on it. And I'm surprised Mr. Colombo agrees with this is a good idea, because as I recall, I think he said that the river should be dredged from the north end all the way down to the mouth. I'm not saying I'm against this or whatever. I'm just thinking the sand's all going to wash back, big storm. You're going to spend $1.5 million and probably more, and you're going to end up in the same boat because you're not doing the project the right way, and the right way is to clear it all out and then a maintenance plan. That's just common sense. But hopefully this works for a while. The other thing is this just doesn't affect Narragansett. There were a number of people from South Kingston speaking about this at the workshops. I think South Kingston should be kicking in some money, Dunes Club, and I think that you should make this contingent on getting, say, 20% of the cost from South Kingston. I don't know why we have to always absorb all the cost. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak on this agenda item? Okay, seeing no hands up, I will take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0.
Congratulations, River people. Lots of hard work ahead.
Okay, so that's the last agenda item on our regular agenda. We do have executive session. Do I have a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A2 for the purpose of litigation?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Okay, I'll do a roll call on this one.
Jill Lawler, aye.
Eva Drzynski, aye.
Stephen Ferrandi, aye.
Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes 4-0, and we'll be back with a disclosure of votes and adjournment when we come back. You're all set? Okay, all set. So back from executive session, I have the disclosure of executive session votes. This one's going to be from the September 26th meeting. The motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi, to seal the minutes of the September 26th, 2024 executive session. So unanimously voted with 3 in favor. Councilors Cicilline, Bonanno, and Kopech were absent. This executive session, we had a motion to seal the minutes. Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passed 4-0. Lastly, we had a motion to exit and return to regular session. Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passed 3-0. Lastly, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passes